We're going to get the latest now from Tropical Storm Bertha with meteorologist Brooke Laser. Hey, Brooke.
Hey there, Mike. The time now is 12:13, so we'll get our next intermediate advisory from the National Hurricane Center at 1 o'clock in just over 45 minutes. You'll notice right now the storm is still in a similar location longitude and latitude wise as yesterday, only about 70 miles south of Panama City, 145 miles southeast of Mobile. The overall movement has not changed since over the weekend, so it's just essentially been sitting here at 3 miles an hour. And the winds have been able to pick up for that reason because there's a little bit less dry air in this portion of the eastern Gulf. So now we're seeing the winds at 60 miles an hour as of the latest advisory at 10 a.m. The gusts are closer to 70 miles an hour, and the pressure's dropped a little bit. This is probably the healthiest the storm is going to look once it finally starts to move a bit further westward. Though it's going to end up in the warmer waters of the Gulf, there will be more dry air to start ripping the system apart. So want to give you the latest information on timing. You'll notice Wednesday at 7 p.m. is looking like the quote-unquote landfall time frame. But this is not a storm where that's going to matter as much because the rain is going to be on the eastern and southern side of the center of the storm. So here's the satellite and radar picture at the moment, bringing some bands of tropical showers and downpours to the Florida Panhandle, with the bulk of the rain well offshore over the open water. The radar picture not looking as impressive once you take away the satellite layer of cloud cover. So we'll continue with minimal concern for rain chances leading to any localized flooding inland. The primary issue is going to be wind contributing to surge. Again, here's the dry air a little bit closer to Louisiana that's going to help to start ripping this storm apart as it moves our direction. Finally, it's going to start to move a little bit more heading into later on this afternoon and tonight. But I want to show you tomorrow, about 24 hours from now at 12:25. You'll notice the quote-unquote center of the storm is still not quite to the southernmost tip of the boot, but all the rain is down over the open water. So the good news is the heaviest of that is going to be well south of land. Certainly not an ideal forecast for any boating, and we're always thinking about the port down towards Port Fourchon. But as we get later into the afternoon and evening, that's when the center of the storm, quote unquote, is moving towards Boothville. But again, notice not a whole lot of rain around the center because this is not a super well-defined system. As we get into Thursday in the overnight hours, it will continue to still be in our area, just southwest of Houma in terms of the center. But all the heaviest rain is well south of Lafayette at that point and continuing off to the west. And then as we get into Thursday, we'll be finally starting to dry and clear out. So our weather impact alert right now is issued for tomorrow and then early Thursday morning. Want to show you an idea of when you can start to expect these wind gusts to pick up. Here's tonight at 9 p.m. We're seeing teens and 20s for gusts in southeast Louisiana. Notice Pensacola still dealing with 30-mile-per-hour wind gust. As we get to tomorrow morning, this is when it's going to be windy. The moment you step outside, we'll see anywhere from 25 to 30-mile-per-hour gust on both sides of the lake. As we get into Wednesday evening, here's 11 p.m. A similar consistent wind gust forecast for most spots. So that's going to be with us pretty much all day tomorrow. And then once the system starts to move a little bit further west as we get into the early hours of Thursday morning, we finally start to see these winds come down a little bit. But we're still going to be dealing with the eastern side of the system at that point. So not as much rain concern, but still a little bit of wind. And that wind is traditionally what heightens our surge potential. So at the moment, we don't have a storm surge watch anymore. That was instead dropped in order to change the forecast to coastal flood warnings and coastal flood advisories. So inland, you can expect 1 to 3 feet of potential surge, 2 to 4 instead at the immediate coast. Our tropical alerts now flying all the way down to Port Fourchon. That's the tropical storm warning concern. And that means you could have these impacts within the next 24 hours. You'll notice as we zoom in a little closer here, the white area designates the levee protection system. All the areas outside, especially near Lake Borgne, are going to be on alert for that 3-foot storm surge. So that's why the flood protection is closing the gates a little bit later this afternoon. And we're hoping to have a live interview for you as we get into our later shows. Just want to once again remind you, the overall rain chances are going to be pretty minimal for areas inland today and really even into tomorrow because the bulk of the rain is going to stay a little bit further south. So here comes the center of the storm. We're still not super rainy across southeast Louisiana on either side of the lake. Instead, it's mostly dry. These totals between 1 and 2 inches in most spots at best on the North Shore. You'll hardly know we have a system nearby. Temperatures, of course, really hot at the moment. We continue with these heat alerts until 6 p.m. Our heat advisory issued once again, anywhere from 90s to upper 80s and feeling like triple digits into the afternoon. Here's your 7-day forecast. Again, weather impact alert for all day Wednesday and early Thursday morning.